Lee Siegel argues that Death of a Salesman has no place in the 21st century. Perhaps this is because the position of traveling salesman has changed, or because it's impossible for someone who could relate to the book to afford a ticket to see it on Broadway these days. Siegel, however, has neglected a few key items. First of all, Siegel did not count on the fact that many of our parents and grandparents lived the very same lifestyle described in Miller's play. Take, for example, my own grandfather. He was born in the 20s, grew up during the Depression in New York City, and was fighting the Japanese in World War II when he was my age. After the war, he came home, started a family, and became a traveling salesman. He traveled all over the Midwest, gone for sometimes weeks at a time. Sound familiar? Sounds a lot like Willy Loman. Now let's fast forward a generation. My mother works in sales and marketing for a nursing home company based in Louisville, but has been traveling for business for 15 years. Unlike Willie, she flies, but she still stays in a hotel room and has contacts in cities all over the country. In actuality, Willy Loman can be related to my family by means of his profession quite easily. This is why when I read about Willie and his family, I couldn't help but think about mine. Now let's talk historically and economically. The Lomans endured the worst economic struggle in America's history, the Great Depression. Siegel clearly raises the question, how could something that happened 70 years ago still relate to the 21st century? And there's one simple answer: the Great Recession. Very much like the stock market fell in 1929, the market crashed again in 2008, and is only now showing signs of a recovery. Now ask yourself an obvious question. Have you lived in America since 2008? If yes, then you experienced this recession. Maybe you weren't hit as hard as others, but you can be sure that many Americans lost their retirement, their jobs, and even their houses. Anyone who lived through and has any recollection of a sacrifice they made because of the recession can easily relate to Miller's play and knows what it's like to be frugal with money like the Lomans. Although it's not difficult to see how Lee Siegel believes that Death of a Salesman has no place in the 21st century, clearly after looking into your own family past and thinking back to the darker days of the Great Recession, we can understand and relate our lives and hardships to those of the Lomans.